David Park walked into the mess hall of Station 12 with his food tray in his hands. He'd been living on this space station for 3 weeks now. 3 weeks of strange looks. 3 weeks of whispers behind his back. 3 weeks of being the only human that most of these aliens had ever seen up close. The mess hall was large and bright. Long tables filled the room. Aliens of many different species sat eating their meals. Some had blue skin. Some had 4 arms. Some looked like walking crystals. David tried not to stare at them. He knew they were staring at him. He found an empty spot at a table near the wall. He sat down and looked at his tray. The food was not great. The station's food machines could make basic nutrition blocks. They tasted like nothing, like eating wet cardboard. But David had a secret weapon. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small red bottle. Hot sauce. His mother had packed 6 bottles in his personal bag before he left Earth. She knew her son could not eat food without some kick to it. David smiled as he opened the bottle. The smell of peppers and spice filled his nose. It smelled like home. He was about to pour the sauce on his food when a shadow fell over his table. David looked up. A tall alien stood there. This one was a Valkyrie. They looked like humans made of living crystal. Light bounced off their skin in rainbow patterns. This Valkyrie was looking at the bottle in David's hand with something like fear in its eyes. "What is that liquid?" the Valkyrie asked. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. "My scanner says it is a dangerous acid." David blinked. "This is just hot sauce. It makes food taste better." The Valkyrie took a step back. "Your scanner must be broken. That substance reads as harmful to living tissue." "No, I mean, it's spicy. It has capsaicin in it. That's what makes it hot." David tried to explain. He did not know how to make this alien understand that by now. Other aliens had noticed the conversation. A group of Marathi at the next table turned to look. The Marathi had 4 arms each and skin the color of dark purple. They looked like they were watching a show. "Capsaicin," one of the Marathi said slowly. "I know this word. It is the chemical that burns the mouth and kills small animals. Why do you have it?" "To eat it," David said. He was starting to feel uncomfortable with all the attention. "Humans eat capsaicin. We like the burning feeling." Silence. Then laughter died. It started with the Marathi. Their laughter sounded like drums beating. Then the Valkyrie joined in with their chiming sounds. Soon, half the mess hall was laughing at David. The sound filled the room and bounced off the metal walls. David's face turned red. He put the hot sauce bottle down on the table. "The human wants to poison himself." Someone shouted. "Maybe humans are not as smart as we thought. Let him eat his death sauce. It will be funny to watch." David wanted to disappear. He wanted to sink through the floor and never come back. He had never felt so small in his entire life. These aliens thought he was stupid. They thought humans were some kind of joke dot from across the room. He saw another human face. Commander Jessica Kim. She was the senior human officer on Station 12. She had been here for 2 years already. She was sitting alone at a table, watching everything happen. Her face showed no emotion, but she gave David a small nod. That nod said many things. It said, "I understand." It said, "This happens to all of us." It said, "Be patient." David picked up his fork and ate his tasteless food without the hot sauce. He did not want to give them more reasons to laugh. After the meal, Commander Kim found him in the hallway. "First time?" she asked. "Does it get better?" Kim shook her head. "Not really. They think we are strange. They think our food is poison. They do not understand how we survived on Earth." David leaned against the wall. "I just wanted to eat my lunch." "I know." Kim put a hand on his shoulder. "Listen to me, Park. These aliens come from soft worlds. easy worlds. Their planets have gentle weather and safe food. They never had to fight for survival like humans did. What do you mean? Kim smiled. It was not a happy smile. Earth is a death world, Park. Everything on our planet tried to kill us. The weather, the animals, the plants, even our food. We did not just survive. We learned to eat the things that tried to kill us. We made them part of our diet. David thought about this. He thought about spicy peppers, about coffee and chocolate, about alcohol and garlic. Things that humans ate every day without thinking. Things that could kill other species. So we are the weird ones, he said. No. Kim's smile grew sharper. We are the dangerous ones. They just do not know it yet. She walked away, leaving David alone with his thoughts. That night, David lay in his small room and thought about home. He thought about his grandmother's cooking. Spicy rice cakes that made his eyes water. Fermented cabbage that smelled strong enough to clear a room. Soups that burned his tongue in the best way. He thought about coffee, that bitter drink that woke him up every morning. He had learned today that coffee was toxic to most alien species. The caffeine could kill them. He thought about chocolate. Sweet and rich and wonderful. Also deadly to aliens. Humans ate poison every day. They drank poison. They enjoyed poison. And they never even thought about it. David sat up in bed. He looked at the hot sauce bottles his mother had packed. 6 bottles of liquid fire. 6 bottles of what the aliens called death. Maybe Commander Kim was right. Maybe humans were not the weak newcomers that the aliens thought they were. Maybe humans were something else entirely. Something that ate what killed others. Something that turned poison into pleasure. Something dangerous. David smiled in the dark. Let them laugh for now. Let them think humans were stupid and strange. Someday, they would understand the truth. Humans had survived Earth. Earth, where everything wanted to kill you. Earth, where the food itself fought back. If humans could survive that, they could survive anything. And maybe, just maybe, the rest of the galaxy. Should be a little more careful about laughing at the species that learned to love the taste of death. David closed his eyes and dreamed of spicy food and strong coffee and a galaxy that would one day understand exactly what humans were made of. Dr. Amanda Lee found the report on her computer one morning. Someone had sent it to all the department heads on Station 12. The title made her laugh out loud. Then it made her angry. Human Dietary Anomaly Report. A study of dangerous eating behaviors. She read through it twice. Then she called David Park and Commander Jessica Kim to her medical office. They needed to see this. The 3 humans sat together in the small room. Dr. Lee's office was the only place on the station where they could speak freely. No aliens watching. No whispers behind their backs. Just 3 humans trying to survive in a galaxy that thought they were crazy. Listen to this, Dr. Lee said. She began to read from the report. Entry 1. The human male called Park was seen drinking a brown liquid called coffee. This liquid contains caffeine. Caffeine is a poison that attacks the nervous system. In Morati subjects, a small dose of caffeine causes death within minutes. The human drank 3 cups. David shrugged. I like coffee. Entry 4. Dr. Lee continued. The human female called Kim requested a food item called chocolate from the food machine. Analysis shows that chocolate contains a chemical called theobromine. This chemical can stop the hearts of most known species. Request for chocolate was denied for safety reasons. Commander Kim's face went cold. They denied my chocolate. I have filed 17 complaints about this. Entry 9. The human male called Park added a red liquid to his food. This liquid contains capsaicin. Capsaicin burns living tissue and causes severe pain. The human showed no signs of distress. Continued observation is recommended. David smiled a little. That was my hot sauce. Dr. Lee kept reading. The list went on and on. Every human food was described as if it were a weapon. Garlic was toxic to Valkyrie blood. Onions released chemicals that damaged alien eyes. Citrus fruits had acid strong enough to burn through skin. Raw fish was considered barbaric. Fermented foods, where bacteria changed the food over time, were described as biological experiments gone wrong. The report ended with a recommendation. All human food activities should be moved to a special sealed room. Humans should not eat near other species. Human food was too dangerous. They want to lock us in a box when we eat, Commander Kim said quietly. Her voice was very controlled. Too controlled. David knew that voice. It meant she was very angry. The order comes from the top, Dr. Lee said. Station Administrator Veth signed it himself. David stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the stars. So many stars. So many worlds. And on almost all of those worlds, humans were the strange ones. The dangerous ones. The ones who ate poison for fun. This is not right, he said. They are treating us like animals. Like we are sick and might infect them. They are scared, Commander Kim said. Think about it from their view. They see us eating things that would kill them. Of course they are scared, but we are not hurting anyone. They do not know that. Kim stood up and joined David at the window. To them, we are walking poison. Our food is toxic. Our drinks are deadly. They do not understand how we survive. Dr. Lee closed the report on her computer. Maybe we should show them. Both David and Kim turned to look at her. What do you mean? David asked. Dr. Lee smiled. It was the kind of smile that meant she had an idea. A big idea. They think human food is dangerous because they have never seen us eat it. They only know what their scanners tell them. Chemicals, poisons, danger warnings. But they have never watched a human enjoy a meal. You want to put on a show? Kim asked. I want to educate them. Dr. Lee stood up. Her eyes were bright with excitement. We invite them to watch. We show them what humans really eat. We let them scan everything and see that we are fine. We prove that what kills them makes us stronger. David thought about this. It was risky. If something went wrong, it would make things worse. But if it worked, maybe the aliens would finally understand. They will never agree to watch, he said. They think we are crazy. Kim shook her head slowly. No, they will come. They will come because they are curious. They want to see if we really eat poison. They want to watch us suffer. They expect us to get sick or die. And when we do not, Kim's smile was cold. Then they learned something new about humans. The next 2 weeks were busy. David worked with Dr. Lee to gather human foods. Some came from hidden supplies that humans had brought from Earth. Some were made using the station's food machines after Dr. Lee figured out the right codes. Kim worked on getting permission for the demonstration. She talked to Administrator Veth. She promised safety measures. She guaranteed that no alien would be forced to eat or touch anything. Finally, the day came. The invitation went out to the whole station. Human dietary demonstration. Come watch humans consume substances classified as toxic. Full medical monitoring will be provided. Attendance is voluntary. 67 aliens showed up. They filled the observation room, pressing against the glass that separated them from the demonstration area. Their eyes were wide. Some looked curious. Some looked disgusted. Many looked like they were expecting to watch humans die. David stood in the demonstration area with Kim and Dr. Lee. On the table in front of them sat bottles and containers and plates. Hot sauce, coffee, chocolate, garlic, fermented vegetables, All the things that aliens called poison. David picked up the hot sauce bottle. His hand was steady. His heart was not. Time to show them what humans are made of, he said. Kim nodded. Dr. Lee activated the medical scanners. And in the observation room, 67 aliens leaned forward to watch the humans eat death. The demonstration room was bright and clean. Medical equipment lined the walls. Screens showed heart rates and body temperatures and blood pressure readings. Everything was ready. The humans were ready. David Park stood at the front of the room. Behind the glass wall, 67 aliens watched him. Their eyes never moved. They barely seemed to breathe. They were waiting for something terrible to happen. "Welcome," David said. His voice was calm. "Today, you will see what a normal human meal looks like. Everything on this table has been scanned. You know what these foods contain. You know that these chemicals are dangerous to your species. Now watch what happens when a human eats them." He picked up a piece of garlic. Raw garlic. The screens behind him showed the chemical readings, allicin, sulfur compounds, things that could damage Valkyrie blood cells. "This is garlic," David said. "Humans have eaten garlic for thousands of years. We put it in almost everything we cook." He put the garlic in his mouth and chewed. The aliens gasped. A Valkyrie medical officer rushed to check the scanner readings. David's heart rate stayed normal. His blood showed no damage. He swallowed the garlic and smiled. "Tastes good," he said. "A little strong, but good." Murmurs spread through the observation room. The aliens could not believe what they were seeing. Commander Jessica Kim stepped forward next. She held a jar of fermented vegetables. Kimchi, her grandmother's recipe. The smell was strong and sour and wonderful. "This is kimchi," Kim said. "It is made by letting vegetables sit with bacteria for weeks or months. The bacteria change the food. They make it sour. They make it healthy for humans to eat." "Bacteria," a Marathi repeated through the intercom. His voice shook with disgust. "You grow bacteria in your food on purpose?" "Yes." Kim took a large bite of kimchi. She chewed slowly, enjoying every moment. The screens showed her body responding. Good bacteria entering her stomach. Her digestive system accepting the food. No problems. No damage. "My grandmother made the best kimchi," Kim said after she swallowed. "This is not as good as hers, but it still tastes like home." Now it was Dr. Amanda Lee's turn. She picked up a cup of coffee. Dark and hot and strong. The scanners showed the caffeine content. Enough to kill 3 Marathi. "Coffee," Dr. Lee said. "Humans drink this every morning. It wakes us up. It helps us think clearly. Most humans cannot function without it." She drank the whole cup in 3 long sips. The aliens watched in horror. They waited for her to collapse. They waited for her heart to stop. They waited for the poison to take effect. Nothing happened. Dr. Lee set down the empty cup. "I would like another one, actually. 1 cup is never enough." David stepped forward again. This time, he held a bottle of hot sauce. The same bottle that had started all of this 3 weeks ago. The same bottle that had made the whole mess hall laugh at him. "This is capsaicin," David said. He poured the hot sauce onto a piece of food and ate it. "It burns. I can feel it burning right now. My mouth is on fire. My eyes are watering. And you know what?" He poured more sauce. Ate more food. His face was red. Sweat appeared on his forehead. "I love it," he said. "The burn is the best part." The Valkyrie station administrator, Veth, spoke through the intercom. His crystal voice cracked with confusion. "Why? Why would you hurt yourself on purpose?" David wiped his mouth with a napkin. "I am not hurting myself. I am enjoying myself. This is what humans do. We eat things that fight back. We enjoy the challenge. Kim brought out the final item. A bar of chocolate. Dark chocolate. Rich and bitter and sweet all at once. The screen showed the theobromine content. Deadly to most species. A treat for humans. This is chocolate, Kim said. Human children eat this. We give it as gifts to people we love. We eat it when we are sad or happy or celebrating. She broke the bar into pieces. She gave one piece to David, one to Dr. Lee. She kept one for herself. The three humans ate their chocolate together. They smiled. They closed their eyes and enjoyed the taste. The screen showed nothing wrong. Their bodies accepted the theobromine like it was water. Humans give this poison to their children? Atazari asked. Her voice was very small. It is not poison to us, David said. To us, it is joy. The observation room was silent. No more laughter. No more jokes. The aliens looked at the three humans with new eyes. Eyes that held confusion and fear and something that might have been respect. Administrator Veth spoke again. How is this possible? How can you eat these things and live? David thought about his answer. He thought about Earth, about millions of years of evolution, about ancestors who ate what tried to kill them and became stronger for it. We come from a hard world, he said. A world where everything was dangerous. The plants were poisonous. The animals were deadly. The weather could kill. Our ancestors had two choices: die or adapt. He picked up the hot sauce bottle and held it up for all to see. They adapted. They learned to eat the poisons. They learned to make the poisons part of their bodies. Over thousands of generations, what once could kill us became what we needed to survive. Kim stepped forward. You asked why we eat these things. The answer is simple. We eat them because our ancestors ate them, and their ancestors before them, all the way back to the first humans who decided that they would not die, that they would survive no matter what, that they would eat to death and make it into life. Dr. Lee added the final words. You call these foods dangerous. You are right. They are dangerous, but not to us. We are what happens when a species refuses to die. We are what happens when poison becomes food. The demonstration ended. The aliens filed out slowly. They did not speak. They did not laugh. They walked like people who had seen something they could not understand. David watched them go. He felt tired but good. For the first time since arriving on Station 12, he did not feel like a joke. He felt like a human dot, and for the first time, the aliens understood that being human meant being something they had never seen before, something that ate death and called it dinner. David was sleeping in his room when the alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed through the station. A voice on the speakers announced emergency protocols. Something had hit Station 12. He ran to the command center. Commander Kim was already there, standing next to Administrator Veth. Both looked worried. On the main screen, David could see a ship. A small ship crashed into the side of the station. Smoke poured from the hole it had made. What happened? David asked. A Sketh carrier, Beth said. His crystal face had turned pale. They found us. David had heard stories about the Sketh. Everyone in the galaxy had. They were not really a species. They were more like a disease, a plague that traveled from world to world. They released tiny spores into the air. The spores infected living beings. Once infected, the victim became a carrier. They walked around spreading more spores until they died. Then new Sketh would grow from their body. 12 worlds had fallen to the Sketh already. No one had found a cure. The only defense was to run. How long do we have? Kim asked. The spores are already spreading, Dr. Lee said. She had appeared at the door, holding a scanner. Her face was gray. I am reading infection in 7 sections of the station. It is moving fast. Over the next 4 hours, David watched the station fall apart. The Valkyrie were hit first. Their crystal bodies offered no protection against the tiny spores. One by one, they began to change. Their eyes went empty. Their movements became slow and strange. They stopped talking and started walking toward the uninfected sections, breathing out clouds of spores. The Marathi fell next. Their forearms twitched and jerked as the spores took control. Some tried to fight it. They locked themselves in rooms. They begged for help over the communication system. Then their voices went silent, and only the sound of shuffling feet remained. Even the Tasari, with their water-based bodies, could not resist. The spores adapted. They always adapted. That was what made them so dangerous. By hour 6, 40% of the station was infected. The survivors had retreated to the inner sections. They sealed the doors. They prayed to whatever gods they believed in. They waited to die. But the 3 humans did not get sick. Dr. Lee was the first to notice. She had been checking everyone for infection. She had scanned hundreds of crew members. She had watched the spores take hold in species after species. But when she scanned herself, she found something strange. "The spores are in my lungs," she said. Her voice was confused. "I have been breathing them for hours. They are inside me." David felt his stomach drop. "Are you infected?" "No." Dr. Lee looked at her scanner again. "The spores are dying. As soon as they touch my tissue, they die." She scanned David next. Same result. Then Kim. Same result. The sketh spores could not survive inside a human body. Kim understood first. The capsaicin. The caffeine. All the chemicals in our blood. "What are you saying?" David asked. "Our blood is poison, David, not just to aliens. To the sketh, too. We are saturated with compounds that kill other life forms. The spores are trying to infect us, but our bodies are killing them faster than they can spread." Dr. Lee's eyes went wide. "We are not just immune. We are toxic to the infection." David looked at the door. Beyond it, infected crew members wandered the halls. They were spreading death with every breath. And the 3 humans were the only ones who could walk among them without fear. "We have to help them," David said. Kim nodded. "Get weapons. Protective gear. We are going out there." The next 12 hours were the longest of David's life. He and Kim moved through the infected sections of the station. Everywhere they went, spores filled the air like dust. The spores landed on their skin. They breathed the spores in. They swallowed spores with every gulp of water. And everywhere they went, the infection weakened. It took time for them to understand what was happening. When they entered a room full of spores, the spores near them started to die. When they touched infected crew members, the infection slowed. Their very presence was fighting the plague. "We are like walking medicine," David said. He was tired. So tired. But he kept moving. "Not medicine," Kim replied. She was carrying an unconscious Tazari over her shoulder. "Poison. We are walking poison. And for once, that is a good thing." Dr. Lee worked from the medical bay. She was processing everything the scanner showed. The data was clear. Human blood contained dozens of compounds that were toxic to the sketh spores. Capsaicin damaged the spore walls. Caffeine disrupted their reproduction. Theobromine poisoned their simple nervous systems. Every poison that humans had learned to eat was now a weapon against the plague. By hour 18. The infection rate had dropped to 20%. By hour 24. It was down to 7%. When the rescue ships arrived from the Coalition fleet, they found something they had never seen before. A station that had survived a sketh attack. Not by running, not by quarantine, but by fighting back. And at the center of it all 3 exhausted humans sat in the mess hall, eating chocolate and drinking coffee. Administrator Veth found them there. He walked slowly. He had been infected for a brief time before David had found him and stayed close until the spores died. He was weak but alive. "You saved us," Veth said. His crystal voice was soft. David shrugged. He was too tired for words. "You walked into rooms full of death. You touched infected crew members. You breathed poison air for hours." Veth sat down across from them. "You did this knowing the spores were inside you." "The spores could not hurt us," Kim said. "We've been eating worse things our whole lives." Veth was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something that David would never forget. "We laughed at you. We called your food dangerous. We treated you like animals. And when death came for us, you were the only ones who could save us." He bowed his head. In Valkyrie culture, this was the deepest sign of respect. We were wrong about humans. We were wrong about everything. David looked at his half-eaten chocolate bar. He thought about all the times he had felt small on this station. All the times he had felt like a joke. All the times he had hidden his hot sauce because he was embarrassed. He picked up the chocolate and took another bite. "Tell you what," David said. "Next time, maybe do not laugh at the poison eaters. You never know when you might need them." Veth made a sound that might have been a laugh. "I will remember that. I will make sure everyone remembers that." Outside the window, rescue ships docked with the damaged station. Medics rushed in to help the wounded. Engineers began repairs. And somewhere in the stars, the Sketh continued their march across the galaxy. They had won 100 battles. They had destroyed a dozen worlds, but today they had lost. They had lost to 3 tired humans who ate poison for breakfast and called it good. Station 12 had survived a Sketh attack. Not just survived, defeated. The plague that had destroyed 12 worlds was stopped by 3 humans, who walked through clouds of death and came out alive. The Coalition Council demanded answers. Representatives from 47 species gathered in the Great Hall of the central government. They had seen the reports. They had watched the videos. They had read the medical data. But they still did not believe it. Admiral Brian Lee stood before them. He was a human from Earth, one of the highest-ranking officers in the Coalition fleet. His family had been soldiers for 5 generations. His great-grandmother had been one of the first humans to travel to the stars. Now he carried the weight of his entire species on his shoulders. The humans of Station 12 showed complete immunity to Sketh infection, Admiral Lee said. His voice filled the Great Hall. More than immunity. Their bodies actively destroyed the spores. Their presence alone was enough to weaken the plague. A Marathi representative raised one of his 4 hands. "How is this possible? We have studied the Sketh for years. No species has ever shown resistance." Admiral Lee smiled. It was a patient smile. The smile of a teacher who was about to explain something important. "Humans evolved on a planet called Earth," he began. "You may have heard stories about our world. Many species call it a death world. They are not wrong." He pressed a button. Images appeared on the screen behind him. Images of Earth. Beautiful blue oceans. Green forests. Snow-covered mountains. It looked peaceful. But Admiral Lee knew the truth behind the beauty. Earth is one of the most dangerous planets ever recorded. Everything there is in constant war. Plants produce poisons to stop animals from eating them. Animals produce poisons to kill their enemies. Even the smallest creatures carry enough toxin to kill beings much larger than themselves. The screen showed new images: snakes, spiders, frogs with bright colors that warned of death, plants with thorns and poisons, mushrooms that could kill with a single bite. Our ancestors faced a choice. They could avoid these poisons and starve. or they could learn to eat them and survive. They chose to survive. Admiral Lee pulled up a new image. A list of chemicals: capsaicin, caffeine, theobromine, allicin, alcohol, nicotine. The same list that had appeared in the report about human eating habits. The same list that had made aliens laugh at David Park. Over millions of years, humans adapted. We developed ways to process these chemicals. We built tolerance. We made them part of our diet. What once killed our ancestors became our daily food. He pointed to the list. Caffeine. We drink it every morning. It helps us wake up. Capsaicin. We add it to our meals. It makes food taste better. Theobromine. We give it to our children as a treat. Alcohol. We drink it at celebrations. These are not accidents. These are the results of millions of years of evolution. The Great Hall was silent. The representatives were starting to understand. The average human has trace amounts of over 40 toxic compounds in their blood at all times. Admiral Lee continued. Our muscles contain chemicals that would damage other species. Our skin produces oils that are harmful to certain life forms. We are, in a very real way, walking poison. He paused. Let the words sink in. When the sceth spores entered human bodies, they found an environment so hostile that they could not survive. The chemicals in human blood attacked the spores. The compounds in human tissue destroyed them. The humans did not need medicine. Their bodies were medicine. A Volcari representative spoke. You are saying that humans are toxic to the sceth because you eat poison every day? I am saying that humans survived Earth by becoming poison. And now, that same adaptation protects us from threats we never imagined. The council debated for 3 days. Some wanted to study humans, to take blood samples and tissue samples and try to create vaccines from human chemistry. Others wanted to add humans to every fleet and every station as living shields against the sceth. A few were scared. They worried that humans were too dangerous, that a species who ate death could not be trusted. In the end, the council made a decision that changed everything. Humans would be added to every major fleet. Human dietary habits would be studied. Human food would be made available on stations across the galaxy. Not as a joke, not as a curiosity, as a resource. Back on Station 12, David Park heard the news on his communication screen. He was sitting in the mess hall. The same mess hall where aliens had laughed at him months ago. Now, the room was different. Aliens sat at tables eating things they had never tried before. Spicy foods, fermented foods, strong coffee with strange flavors. Administrator Veth sat across from David. The Volcari had become a friend. He still could not eat human food, but he liked to watch David eat. He said it was educational. The council has approved human dietary integration, Veth said. Your food will be available everywhere now. David took a bite of kimchi. His grandmother would be proud. Does this mean I do not have to eat in a sealed room anymore? The order has been removed. Veth made the chiming sound that meant he was embarrassed. I apologize for that order. It was wrong. You were scared. Yes, we were scared of what we did not understand. Now we understand a little better. Commander Kim joined them at the table. She had a cup of coffee in one hand and a piece of chocolate in the other. She looked happy for the first time since David had met her. I heard from Earth, Kim said. They want to send more humans to space. A lot more. The coalition is requesting them specifically. Because of the sceth. Because of everything. Kim sat down. They finally see what we have been trying to tell them. Humans are not weak. We are not soft. We are what happens when you take a death world and give it a thinking species. We are survivors. Dr. Lee arrived with a tray of food. She had been working with the station's food machines, programming them, teaching them, Now they could make almost any human dish. "I have good news," Dr. Lee said. "The coalition has funded a new research project. They want to study human biology, specifically how our dietary adaptations can be used to fight threats like the Sketh. Will it work?" "I think so. Maybe not the same way it works in us, but we can learn from human chemistry. We can develop new medicines, new defenses, new ways to fight." David looked around the mess hall. He remembered his first day here. The laughter, the mockery, the shame he had felt. Now, aliens came to him asking questions about human food. They wanted to understand. They wanted to learn. Outside the window, the stars stretched on forever. Billions of worlds. Trillions of beings. And somewhere out there, the Sketh were still spreading. Still killing. Still winning. But now they had an enemy they had never faced before. An enemy that had learned to eat poison. An enemy that turned death into strength. An enemy that refused to die, no matter how hard the universe tried to kill them. Humans. David picked up his hot sauce bottle. The same bottle his mother had packed for him. The same bottle that had started everything. He poured sauce on his food and took a big bite. The burn was beautiful. "You know what the best part is?" David said. Kim and Dr. Lee looked at him. "The best part is that they finally stopped laughing." David grinned. "Now they want to learn. They want to be like us. They want to eat what scares them." Kim raised her coffee cup. "To the poison eaters." Dr. Lee raised her chocolate bar. "To surviving." David raised his bottle of hot sauce. "To being human." They ate together as the stars turned slowly outside. 3 humans on a station full of aliens. 3 survivors in a galaxy that had finally learned to respect them. And somewhere on a small blue planet called Earth, a species that had spent millions of years eating what tried to kill them finally received the recognition they deserved. They were not monsters. They were not freaks. They were not jokes. They were humans, and the galaxy would never laugh at them again.